Come in, come in. Sit down, sit down. Are you comfortable? Good, good. Or is it? Hello, everybody. Anthony here. Welcome back to another cozy episode of the Single Parents Podcast. This is the podcast for anybody whose life may have turned out a little less than traditional. Hope you all are doing fantastic as we're about midway through the summer. The sun is shining here, the birds are chirping, and I get to spend yet another day with some amazing people. I'm talking about you. You're one of those amazing people. Just in case that wasn't clear, thank you so much for joining us today. On the show this week, we get to welcome back our wonderful friend of the show, Jessica Doretti, aka Jessica Doritos. Yes, she graced us with her presence a couple of episodes ago. You loved her. I thought she was great. I asked her to come back again, and she said yes, baby. So, in just a moment, we're going to go hang out with her and continue our conversation that we've been having throughout the entire summer here on the SPP, and that's centered around the theme of hot entrepreneur summer. The fact that we as single parents in particular, it's kind of the main demographic of the show. We can step into things like starting a business, stepping into new ventures, becoming entrepreneurs, doing things that help just progress our family forward financially and in all the other ways. So we've been exploring that. We've been talking about that. And we have some very particular elements of that topic that we're going to break down with Jessica here in just a moment. But before we go join her for a great little a good little yap session, a few things I'd like to ask you to do beforehand. First things first, maybe consider subscribing to the podcast, turning on notifications. That way you never miss an episode in the future. Second thing second, you could share the podcast. That would be pretty great. You can share the podcast with a neighbor, with a family member, with a friend, with somebody who might need to get this encouragement to step into something big, to know they're not alone, to be a part of a new community, whatever reason you have for sharing this podcast, cool. Run with it. Take that, go for it. That would be fantastic. And then third things third, only do this if you think the show is legit and you think it's worthy of it. But maybe consider rating the podcast 5 stars, highest rating possible on your favorite podcast hosting platform. That way we can tell those algorithms out there that the show is legit and it'll pass it along to more people. All right, let's go party it up with Jessica. If you're checking out this episode before July 26th, you may want to mark your calendar. Have you ever wanted to learn how to turn conversations into cash? Are you looking to bring extra income to your home, for your family, or just looking to diversify your income stream if you own a small business perhaps? Well, one of the branches of the financial service firm, the Miliari Group, is having a free Zoom seminar on July 26th to tell you how you can put more cash into your pockets by becoming a referral agent for the firm. As a referral agent, you can earn a pretty good sized commission for helping bring new clients to the firm. Yes, you can learn how to become licensed and trained to do this, make extra cash just by having conversations with people you're already running into every single day. And if that sounds like a pretty good deal to you, then make sure to mark your calendar again for July 26th, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're watching the video version of this, you can see the contact info on the slide, or you could just email anthonycrosbyfinancial@gmail.com. That's anthonycrosbyfinancial@gmail.com, and we'll make sure to get you all taken care of. Hope to see you there. All right, everybody, as you can see, we are joined once again by our good friend Jessica. Give it up for her, people. Woo! Yes. I told you everybody at the end of the last time she was on, was that a couple of weeks ago or so, a few weeks ago, that I was going to try to get her on, and I kept my word. And Jess, like she said at the end of that episode, I think she said she would be cool to come on again, and here she is. She kept
Yay.
her word too. I appreciate you coming back. How have you been? What's been going on with you since we last chatted?
I mean, honestly, my life is the same. I always do the same thing, but it's what feels good to me. Honestly, the routine feels good.
Yep.
Everything's the same. That's it. But I'm really good. How are you?
How am I? I'm good. I'm in like a weird phase of the year that happens like once a year where I don't really see my kids much for like 3 weeks because my I do week on, week off custody. So last week the girls were with their mom. This week they're visiting my parents, so they're having like a grandparents week right now. So they'll be there all this week, and then next week they'll go back to their mom's house. So because of that little pattern that they have like once a year during the summer, I don't get to see them for a little bit, and it's like it's one of those things where like I'll look forward to that period because I'm like, yes, then I can stay up and I can watch my shows and I can go hang out and do this. And then I do that for a couple of days and then I'm like, oh, I miss them. They could come home now if they want to. And then they're just living their best life, getting spoiled by the grandparents and all that. So that's how I am right now.
Yeah, that's actually so true. Anytime I plan a vacation where my son isn't gonna come with,
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I'm really excited to have this mommy time with her
Yep.
friends, and he's gonna be with grandma and grandpa, and he's gonna get spoiled and get ice cream every single night, and I'm like 2 days into the trip, and I'm like, I just want
Mhm.
to go home and snuggle with my baby.
Yes, yeah. Every time like I go through my house cleaning, I'll find like their blanket or one of their hair ties or something, and just be like, "Oh man, this day
Sad.
was sad." And then they'll get back, and we'll have fun, and then we'll start getting ready for school time and all the chaos, and then I'll just be like, "Oh, I need another break," and then the cycle just continues. So,
Yay,
life of a
school.
single parent.
Yeah, so fun.
Good times, good times. But Jessica, I am excited to have you on today because as I kind of have been talking with the people over the last like month and a half or so, for those of you who don't know, we are currently in the middle of what I like to call hot entrepreneur summer, which is where I just really just throw out the idea to our listeners, especially our single parent listeners, the idea of thinking about, okay, what does it look like to take control of my financial future, my career future, my own ambitions, just my family's future in general, and maybe spread your wings a little bit and maybe start that business you've always wanted to start or step into that venture you've always wanted to pursue. All those good things. And so, what we've been doing over the last several weeks is just talking to different people who own different types of businesses and talk to a financial strategist and just really picking people's brain who have stepped into this role, if you will, and kind of just ask them questions about what the reality of being an entrepreneur or a business owner looks like. Because as we'll talk more about, and we'll get Jessica's perspective on this here in a moment, I just believe we just need more single parent entrepreneurs out there because I think we're strong people and we are can be very driven just off of the nature that we have to be just to get through the day with us and our kids. But I think that translates really well into doing your own thing. But I asked Jessica to come on and kind of share some of her thoughts. We're going to kind of pick her brain. I got a few questions for her today. But Jessica, so I just kind of laid all that out, kind of did a little yap session there. So I want to get your perspective when it comes to that idea of being a single parent entrepreneur or business owner, doing your own thing. What are your thoughts on that? And then maybe if you have some experience when it comes to that in your own life, we'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so just to give a little bit of background, I went to school for education. I
Mhm.
wanted to be a teacher, always loved kids, everything, all the books. It was just, yeah. I mean, I love kids and everything. So, I went to school for that for 4 years. I even did some of it in high school. When
Okay.
I was in high school, did like a college program. They made me the student ambassador of the whole like education program, and I got all these great like National Technical like Honor Society, and I was a preferred graduate, and I was like, wow, I think I might actually be really good at this, which is
Wow.
like, it goes hand in hand. I like really love it,
Yeah.
and to know that I do really well with it,
Mhm.
that was just perfect for me. And then I taught for 4 years, and I mean, the education system in general is just, it's tough being a teacher. Like, kids have changed, parenting has changed, and not always feeling like you have support from administration. It was really hard. It was really stressful. Although I loved my kids, and I mean, as everybody knows in the world, that a teacher isn't paid very well. You're doing a lot of work to not make very much money. So when I found out that I was pregnant, it was at the beginning, before the school year. No, I think it was right as the school year started because of the car accident that we talked about last time. And I was like, wow, what's going to happen? I'm going to have my due date is like right at the end of the school year. I was going to teach all year long, and I just didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't love the thought of having my son at daycare all the time, and me teaching and me being stressed out because I knew how emotionally draining it was as a teacher.
Mhm.
And my daily routine was I would wake up at 4:30, I would go to work out at 5 a.m., come home, get myself showered, have breakfast, and then I would go teach all day. I would come home, I would cook dinner and fall asleep on the couch, by 7 p.m. It was,
Yep.
and that was just, I was notorious for just having that routine. And I knew that that was no longer going to be my routine. And so I decided that I was going to say goodbye to teaching. I didn't think that it was going to financially support me enough either as a single parent, knowing that
Right.
I wasn't going to get child support and things like that. I just didn't think that it was going to work out that way. So then I had a transition. I managed a daycare, did that, didn't get along with the other director. So that only lasted a couple months. And it was funny because, my whole life, this family business has been around since I was, born. So
Mhm.
it's been around for a long time, and it was never something that I wanted to do, but it was always an option because my dad and uncle had started it, and my brothers went to college with business degrees,
Wow.
and they did really well. My brothers are the smartest people I know. Like, they got 36s and 35s on their like ACT. They're brainiacs basically. And they were considering going into the family business, and they were younger, they had new ideas, they were going to bring in new business, more money of course.
Mhm.
And that was always an option for me, but I wanted to do teaching.
Yep.
And after teaching, I didn't think it was going to work out with the teaching thing, tried the daycare thing, and I actually would complain to my brother all the time. And I'd be like, oh, like the director said this, and like I'm just not getting paid enough. I'm putting all of this work in, and I really wanted to coach the teachers, and now they have me in a classroom, and now I'm just a teacher again when I wanted to bring myself to the next level. And I constantly want to grow. I was a teacher, then I wanted to coach the teachers and run the daycare. And then my brother one day, he was like, I think you should just leave there and come here. He was
Wow.
like, right now, he said, tell them it's your last day, and clean out your desk and leave. And I was like, that's kind of scary for me, because you don't want to take the risk, and you
Yep.
don't want to like, you don't want to have like bad blood between, like, a past coworker or boss or whatever it is. And I decided to have a conversation. I wasn't going to tell them what I was going to do. I decided to have a conversation, and I was like, I'm looking into this. These are the things that if I were to stay, like, I need my needs to be met, because I was working 12-hour days.
Yep.
And it was actually ironic because the person that I was trying to split time with, or one of the people or persons that I was trying to split time with, she was also a single mom, but she was like in a long-term relationship with a guy, but divorced, and she had two kids. And I was taking on these 12-hour days with my newborn child,
Yep.
and she was taking like half days and leaving early, and my kid was super sick with RSV and I needed to leave right away, and she decided to go get an oil change. And I'm like, okay, this just isn't working out. So,
Wow.
I mean, long story short is I ended up not even giving 2 weeks. I did like a week and a half notice, and she got really mad at me. And I was like, I mean, I could just leave today. I don't really care, honestly. I'm just over it, and I'm ready for this new chapter
Yep.
for my son and I. More money, less hours. Like that was just ultimately what I was going for. And so I stepped into this role at the family business, and I don't know. It's really exciting to have a new start, even though it's scary.
Yep.
And doing your own thing, like it's not just about chasing a dream or, I mean, for me personally, it's not about just chasing a dream. It's kind of what you need as a single parent. You need the stability, like you're constantly in fight or flight, the survival, and also I want to, even though my son is only 2 years old, I want to show him like what true strength feels or looks like, not staying at something that is making you really unhappy and looking for bigger and better opportunities.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, really, I can't rely on anybody else but myself.
Yep.
So, I mean, because I don't get the child support, which I feel fine about because I'm doing my thing and I'm supporting my son, even though it's not always easy, but
Sure.
I'm doing what I need to do. But my future depends on me making these changes and shifting to make a better future for not just myself, but for my son as well. And I think about stepping into like a new role when it comes to business, and you know, nobody's really going to do it better than you yourself.
Hmm.
And that could be like I'm a control freak. So delegating things is hard, but I mean, really, who's going to do it better than me? Who's going to make this change better than me? Like I can't just stay where I'm at. And I'm not lazy,
Yep.
so I'm always striving to do better. And I show up every single day. I show up every single day. I do what I need to do to get better. And I know we talked about the word thrive last
Yep.
time. Like, I
Mhm.
do what I need to do to thrive. I'm not lazy. It doesn't matter if my son was screaming up all night because he was sick with a cold and he just wanted to be with mommy. And I'm still getting up in the morning and I have to go to work.
Yep.
Like, it still needs to be done. And there's times where daycare is closed and I figure out a way to work remotely. I don't just take the day off.
Hmm.
There are special circumstances. If I can get somebody else to cover my role, there are special circumstances, but usually I don't do that because I feel like if I feel like I can still work at home and get the work done, I'm just going to do it, you
Yep.
know? I might as well. If I could just do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up every single day. And I mean, it's not easy and it's not always glamorous, but it's what needs to be done, make the jump. Even when you're uncomfortable, just make the jump.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're going to talk more about that word, uncomfortable versus comfort here in a moment. So I'm glad you set that up. But I think that's just, you said a lot of really great stuff that I think really inspires me as like somebody who is always striving to do his own thing, even though I'm a single dad. And you're right, the temptation to just say, well, I need something stable because I have to be, I'm the only one here paying the bills and buying the groceries and doing the stuff. So I need to know that my paycheck is for sure coming every other week. So even though I'm technically, maybe not making the most money and the hours are crazy and I have to miss all these things that my kids have going on, like I guess at least I know I'm getting paid. But like at the end of the day, it sounds like you really did a good job of like assessing like your worth and what you truly want out of life, especially while your son is early, and to just recognize the fact that like, hey, like this isn't working. Nobody else is going to step in and make these changes or make this work. I need to decide if this is working or not. And if not, then I need to be the one to take the leap and figure it out. And it does fall a lot on our shoulders, but at the end of the day, like you said, that's kind of good because who else can do it better than us anyways? So that was
Yeah.
awesome stuff. I
I
appreciate
mean, there's always opportunities. I feel like even if we have like that stable job where we do that during the
Yeah.
day, there's always opportunities to do other things
Yep.
like a podcast, like things on
Exactly.
social media. Like, I mean, but you have to put in the work. It's like doing almost, two
Hmm.
jobs, but
Yep.
you do what you need to do. Like you have the stable thing and you're working on something else, and other opportunities come knocking at the door. And yeah, that's it.
You got to go for it. So, why do you? Because I kind of gave away my thoughts on this already, but I want to, and maybe you disagree with me, so this might be an interesting question. But why do you think, or do you think, that the world needs more single parent entrepreneurs, business owners, content creators, all the things? Like, if you think this, why do you think the world needs more single parents to step up and put themselves out there like that? Do you think
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, so I actually agree. You were
Okay.
talking about it earlier,
Yeah.
and I agree because I mean, single parents really are just the most resilient,
Hmm.
hardworking, and driven people that I truly know.
Yep.
And I mean, like I said, nobody's going to do it better than us. And I also think about like, because we need to do it for ourselves and our children and our homes and pets if you have them. I've got my two dogs here sleeping right next to me. We don't have anything to fall back on. We don't have like that safety net that some people may have, especially in a relationship. If you're in a relationship, you have somebody to fall back on, and we don't have that because we are the net, basically.
Yep.
We don't have a safety net, we are the net.
Did you know that at Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development, not only are we recruiting the next top talent in the financial service industry to come in, get licensed and trained to help a lot of people and make a pretty good living doing it, we also connect individuals and families with licensed financial strategists who love nothing more than sitting down with people and helping them accomplish and succeed in their financial goals and dreams. Thinking about retirement? Do you think it's possible you could leave generational wealth to your children? Speaking of your children, do you know if they're properly protected if something unfortunate were to happen to you? Single parents out there, where are your kids gonna go? Who are they gonna be placed with if something dire does come your way? We sit down, we help break it all down, we come up with solutions that are best for you and your family. And the amazing part about this whole thing, our appointments are 100% free. Yep, all you gotta do is get in touch with us and we'll put you in contact with the financial strategist who will make sure that everything is properly planned out for your financial future for free. We also have an amazing referral program for professionals and business owners who might be looking to add an additional revenue stream to their portfolio. Yes, we're talking about real estate agents, mortgage brokers, property managers, CPAs, and tax professionals. This might be an easy way for you to add additional revenue to your business model. Reach out to us one more time. That's Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development, where change starts now.
More of us really need to be stepping into those roles because
Yeah.
I mean, we have true heart, soul, and grit, and we work hard. And I'm looking at my notes because I took notes on this one. And oh, these are some things that I listed out.
Okay.
Like these are things that I wish I could just like put on a resume, but I feel like these aren't the right words to put on a resume. But like talk about multitasking and being able to pivot when needed. Budgeting is a really huge one for me.
Hmm.
And I grew up with parents of divorce. My parents were divorced,
Oh, okay.
and my mom budgets like crazy. So, I mean, I learned those things and how to be frugal when I can, but problem solving, and you do all of those things as a single parent while you're raising your child,
Yep.
a little tiny human. You do all of those things. And all these characteristics and things that we learn because I mean, there really was no true like book to read that's like, this is how you're going to get through being a single parent, and this is how you're going to go through delivery, and this is how you're going to go through postpartum, and this is what you're going to do when your child is 3 months old and you need to go to this doctor's appointment, whatever. There's no like rule book, or there's nothing that really teaches you. All the things you learn by doing. That's the best thing that you could possibly do.
Yep.
And there's no course that could teach you that. I mean, you go to college for all those things, but nobody could teach you how to, have the resilience and the grit and the compassion that single parents have,
Yeah.
Like nobody I said this a lot last time, but like nobody could be us.
Hmm.
They can't do what we do, and we're so hardworking and flexible and navigate through challenges and persevere. Like, I mean, we just have so many great characteristics that we've learned along the journey. And I mean, and we're driven. We have like the end goal in sight that we want to make the best lives for ourselves and our kids, families, whatever it may be. We have the end goal in sight, and
Yeah.
I mean, I never give up. I'm always working towards my goals and stuff. So that's why they really need to step into those roles.
Exactly. Yeah, I couldn't agree more because we have the strength, we have, like you said, the ability to multitask and to plan ahead and to budget because we don't get a choice not to do those things. So we're already developing those skills on the regular. Um, but I just think we just have this awesome ability to endure because for a lot of us, a lot of single parents out there, I know for sure, their story does involve a lot of hardships and a lot of tough days and lonely nights and days where maybe you want to give up, but you just can't because at the end of the day, you still got to wake up tomorrow. And especially you have younger kids, you got to see them through their day. And so their ability to endure, our ability to endure, I think translates really well to being an entrepreneur because it takes a lot of endurance and patience and striving and self motivation to build something up like a business or a brand or whatever it is. And I think a lot of times you hear that, most businesses don't succeed after the first few years and all that stuff. And I just think a lot of it could be like practical and market and all those businessy type of stuff. But I think a lot of it is just people just don't have that endurance to see it through, to think that I talked about this last week on the podcast with somebody, but we often will see like these successful people, these successful business owners, and we'll be like, yeah, I can be like them right now because look, they got a storefront, they got all these customers, they got this cool brand. I could do that right now. And not remembering or knowing that how they are now probably took 8, 10 years of in and outs and endurance and hard days. But we think, oh, I can just do that tomorrow. It's not the case. And then a lot of people just give up because it's hard. But that built-in endurance that we have as single parents, I just think fosters this resilience in us that it just I think it gives us an edge, honestly. It gives us an edge above most other people because we live that day by day.
Yeah. I mean, not even just in like, you know, having a business and a storefront and things like that. Like, even with, I know, because we talked about content creation or even
Yep.
having a podcast, like, I don't know, so much of my like For You page on TikTok is like, this is how you're going to get views and you're stuck
Yes.
in the 200 and
I
300 view jail. And I'm like,
yep, yep.
but then you like look at the people who have been crazy successful. Now they have millions and millions and millions of followers, or even people on YouTube, like whatever it is, they're like, I've just been posting great content for the past 10 years and that's how
Hmm.
I got here. So
Hmm.
like people are like, oh my gosh, like I can't get more than 300 views. But I'll tell you what, I have some loyal people that comment on almost
Uh,
every single one of my videos. And I mean, people are watching, you never know who's watching,
exactly.
and your life can change within a flash. It really
Yep.
can. Like one of your episodes on the podcast can just really pop off, and now you're
Mhm.
like on top charts. Like one of your TikToks can really pop off one of your YouTube videos. Like anything. Like it could just happen so fast. Like somebody of great caliber can recognize your small business and all of a sudden everything's all out of stock and now you got to reorder more stuff. Like you never know what can
Yeah.
happen, and that's you're right. Like persevering, the resilience of, pushing on through, that's what's needed.
It's huge. It's huge. So, kind of, I guess the last question we'll touch on is something that you kind of brought up a couple of times when you were sharing your story, and then that's your ability to have like a routine. And you talked even off camera, you talk about how you love yourself a good routine, and you thrive off of that,
Yeah.
and that's really cool. So I want to kind of piggyback off of that fact about yourself and talk about being comfortable, and how sometimes there's this really tricky balance of having a good structure and good routine and good stability to being too comfortable to where we might know we need to make some changes, might know we need to step into some things, but we don't because we're just, I guess, all right being comfortable because at least even if our current state sucks and it needs to change, well, at least it's familiar and I know what I'm working with every single day, even though like I can't afford to pay the bills with this crappy job I have. At least I know what's up versus stepping into something that could be huge and awesome. That could be a little scary because I just don't really know what's up if I do walk through that door. So the comfort aspect keeps us stuck. And I'll just share a quick thing about my story is like that's something I had to overcome, and kind of why I'm really like pushing a lot of this is because I think it was the end of last year. I shared this on the podcast before, but like I just did like a little end of the year assessment on myself, and I was just thinking back through the year and kind of where we were as a three-person family. And I was like, cool, all right, you know what? I think we're good because this job I have right now, we're paying the bills. Like, am I going out buying boats and going to Hawaii every other week? No, but like we can pay our bills, we can do the thing. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'm good. And then I actually really thought about it and I was like, oh crap. My daughters in a few short years, they're going to be teenagers. And the good that we have right now that works for us now as me with two elementary school kids, it's not really going to cut it in a few years when they need teenager stuff and they need more room and they need their own bathroom and they're going to want cars and all this stuff. So I was like, shoot, I have a decision to make. Either I can just say, meh, I'll figure it out later because right now I'm comfortable and I'm good and what's working now is working. So I'll just keep doing my thing. Or I could disrupt that comfort and be like, I gotta get off my butt and start putting in the work now. So that way, 3 years from now, when I do have teenagers, I'm prepared, I'm ready, I'm financially in a place to where I'm ready to make those adjustments. And I had to make that decision. I actually had people being like, "Well, I don't really understand why you're stepping into all this stuff when you don't. I thought you said you were doing fine with your current job, your 9 to 5 job." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine, but it's not going to be fine forever." And so I just had to make that decision. It wasn't easy because it was a lot easier just to be okay with where I was. So that's a little bit about my story. But for you, when you hear this balance of being maybe too comfortable versus having that routine and all that, what does that look like for you? What is your response to all that?
Um, excuse me. Wow. Um, you brought up the word change, and I actually wrote this down.
Okay.
So, like, as a dancer, I did dancing my whole life.
Yeah.
The owner of the dance studio that I grew up going to, who, like, actually, I'm still great friends with, love her. Like, she's like one of my parents. She's
Nice.
mentored me through so much. She's friends with my parents. She's even like, when I struggled financially, like with my mom, she helped me out with things like that. So she's somebody that's very important in my life.
Okay.
And she always used to tell me this one thing when I was younger. And she said, the only thing that you could count on in life is change,
Ooh.
because change is always going to happen. Change is always going to happen around you when it comes to family in your life, people leaving, people coming into your life, dating, relationships, friends, like all of those things. Like everything is just going to be constantly changing around you, and you have to figure out a way to adapt. And honestly, I think that comfort is such a great thing because it makes you feel good.
Mhm.
And I am a very big advocate for doing something that's comfortable for you for a little bit until you are ready to make that next step. You have to be ready to make that next step. And for me, like, it even takes like a little bit of time. I mean, just in every sense where it comes to like, okay, I'm not comfortable enough to start this new job. I need a little bit more time to think about it. Or do I really want to stay in a relationship with this person? Am I comfortable to make that next step? Or am I comfortable to have them meet my children? Am I comfortable enough to try out a new babysitter? I mean, in just so many aspects. But after you get over that point of being like, okay, I'm I've been comfortable for a long time now. I'm ready to move on because being comfortable for a long period of time really is just it's a trap because
Mm.
growth is never going to happen if you're just always stuck being comfortable
Yep.
for long periods of time. Um I think it's good to get to a spot to where you're comfortable and bask in that glory for just a little bit,
Mhm.
and then you have to keep pushing on, and you can't always stay in the same place because you nothing is going to change, and your life isn't going to change if you're always in the same spot.
Yep.
If you're just always doing the same thing and you're not trying to do anything else, then nothing will happen.
Mhm.
And I think of it not only in like a business sense or content creation. If you never make that TikTok account and you don't post, like, then nobody's going to see you.
Mm.
And nobody's like, your story isn't going to be super relevant. It's not going to help people. If you don't share your story, nobody's going to be able to look at you for advice or
Mm.
anything like that.
Yeah.
If you don't do anything, nothing's going to change. If you don't start the podcast, you might be that person. Like, I don't think there are too many single parents like podcasts out there.
Exactly.
And there are so many single parents because it's all over my For You page.
Mhm.
And it'd be great because I'm a huge podcast listener, and I feel like this is the perfect thing. It's like it's super niche. It's needed. There's a gap in it. Like, people need to hear this, and if you never started it, then
Yep.
you might have not been able to help as many people as you've helped thus far because you decided to make a change. Or even when you think about going to the gym, like for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
I wanted to lose some weight. I birthed a child, and my tummy does not look the same that it did, 3 years ago, because 3 years ago I was in my prime. I literally had like a six pack. It was crazy insane. I was super proud of it. I was really in my fitness girl era.
Yep.
But since having a kid, I was like, how am I going to figure out the time to go to the gym and get the motivation to go? But once I started going to the gym, like, there wasn't going to be any change that happens if I didn't push myself, if I didn't decide to run the extra mile, if I didn't decide to push through two extra reps because I want to make sure that I'm building more muscle, or go 5 pounds heavier because I've been doing the same weight the past couple weeks. Like, you have to put in the effort and get out of your comfort zone to actually make growth happen. You can't always just be in the same place because then nothing's ever going to change. You have to take risks, you have to push yourself, and it's not even like, if you're not ready for a huge risk like investing a lot of money into like a storefront or starting a small business and getting all of the product. If you're not ready for something like that, there are other ways, that you can get money and put yourself into a position that could help people, like
Yep.
social media, like YouTube, like a podcast. Like, there's so many things that you could do. And then when you feel like there's more money in the bank account and you're like, okay, I think I'm ready to finally start this, and I have a following and I know that people are going to buy my product or whatever it may be. Um, but also, things start super small scale, and I'll relate it not to me because I don't play like a huge role in the family business, but my brothers play massive roles.
True.
And basically, what happened was they had this idea. They
Hmm.
brought it up to my dad and my uncle, and they said, okay, sure, we'll give you this money to start at super small scale.
Okay.
And it has to do with like wine. It's a liquor business. So
Mhm.
they basically were like, okay, we'll let you buy like 10, 10 cases of wine and you're gonna sell these. And they busted their bums and now they're at 5,000 plus,
Wow.
like they like insane huge growth.
Wow.
And I think people like think that you need this like huge thing right away, and it really doesn't have to be that. It could be something super small. Like it's not like you're hiring 10 employees to
Mhm.
like package things right away. You do it yourself, and as it grows and you have all the marketing in place and people are aware of it, it's going to grow over time,
Yep.
and that's that. Just comfortability, a trap if you're there too long.
I like that. Like what you said at the very beginning, um, change is just it's a part of life, and I think that we want to deny that sometimes, or maybe it's fear, or maybe it's just a lot of other things, insecurities that keep us in that comfort zone. But at the end of the day, change is going to happen regardless. And so you might as well use that change for your benefit, for the benefit of your family. Whether it's any like we're talking a lot about like business stuff, but it's like you said, Jessica, it doesn't have to be all that. It could just be going to the gym or relationship stuff, whatever the change that you need to make in your life to make it better for you and your kids, I think it's essential. So hopefully you listener out there, whatever that change looks like, big or small, you take this as a sign to maybe implement that. Maybe even today, maybe even if today's the day you need to go get that gym membership or make that phone call. Hopefully, this gave you some encouragement to do that. All right, Jessica, anything else you want to say on any of the good stuff that we talked about today before we wrap it up?
Mm, I think the only thing would be just to make the change,
Mm,
make that step,
I
and
agree.
you're gonna do great.
You heard it here first, folks. So you're gonna do great. So when we have our next president or next Nobel Peace Prize winner or next Oscar winner be a single parent, you hopefully you'll remember. You know what? The reason why I'm standing here today is because I listened to Anthony and Jessica on that podcast that one day, and well, that'll feel pretty good. That'll be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
fulfilling.
That'll be pretty awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that gold with us yet again. Could you just remind us one more time? It's going to be in the links of the description of this episode, but one more time, where can the people find you if they just can't get enough of you?
It's just at Jessica.Doritos. That's on Instagram and TikTok.
Perfect, easy. And then if you need to get a hold of me, you can do so through our socials, or you can hit me up through the email, which is just the single parents podcast at gmail.com. That's the single parents podcast at gmail.com. All right. Well, what do you think? That's 2 for 2 on fire episodes that you've been on. Do you think you're gonna keep the party going sometime soon?
Yeah, always down for it. Woo
Let's
woo.
go. Let's go, people. All right. So make sure you are subscribed. You've done all the things so you never miss an episode with Jessica in the future. I know that the numbers show when you're here. Well, I mean, you've only been on one other time, but the numbers already show when you're here, people love it. So I'll
Oh,
do
really?
my
That's
yes.
great.
I'll
Okay. Wow.
so I'll do my best to get her back, people. I know when it's just me yapping, like, oh, Anthony, but Jessica will show up for her. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
keep making that happen. But in the meantime, just make sure you're subscribed. You've done all the things. And that's going to get ready to do it for this episode of the Single Parents Podcast. Until next time, you got Anthony and Jessica, and you all out there, just stay beautiful. Bye.